Okay, welcome to episode 3 of Mori. Today we have here Qbhall, Koma, Raziel, our special guest and game developer from Brazil that made signals, no, not signals, sessions and redo. Say
Yeah.
hi, all.
Hello,
Hi.
people.
Zip.
How's
So,
everybody doing?
Raziel. Hmm? So,
No, sorry, I'm
Raziel.
just saying, how's everybody doing?
No worry. So Raziel, you made a redo. How do you
Yeah.
came up with that?
So, okay, do you want the short story or the long story?
How long you want it to be? Just
Okay, I will start. Okay, let, let me tell you. Uh, Before I started to developing games, I was doing. Uh, I was in college doing psychology.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reasons, because I really didn't like it. I choose to drop the college and find another stuff to do. And the only other thing that I was like kind of good was game development, because as I kind of did some small games in using RPG Maker. RPG Maker,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
engine.
yeah.
Yeah, so I I did that in my spare time, and so I thought to myself, so can I make a commercial game? Can I make something really good, like that I really want to make? So I started learning to to program in the engine that I choose. That, that
Mm-hmm.
was Game Maker at the time, the Game Maker 1.4. And yeah, I started studying code and start studying art and music, and everything slowly become more easy to me. And so from more or less during the period of 3 years, I made the game, but I was learning everything while I was doing the game.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So it was very hard, especially in the beginning, because I didn't have much experience with in game development aspect. Yeah, I had, but not much. But
Mm.
yeah, but this gaming redo really pushed me to to create something that I would be proud of. And to be honest, I'm proud of my game. I don't think it's
Mm.
a really good game, but I am proud that I finished it, and I made some money of it, and I can
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know so the idea behind redo was that to make a game, of course, to start a game,
Mm-hmm.
and to try to put some ideas that I like it, like the whole universe from Tom Nihei is very interesting to me. So I tried
Mm-hmm.
to
Like us all.
bring, yeah, of course, yeah. So I tried to create things that I like it. Like I like it, techno horror. I like
Mm.
cyberpunk. I like horror movies, especially J horror. Like
Mm.
movies like The Ring.
Ringu and
Yeah,
Pulse.
yeah. I
Yeah, yeah,
love
yeah.
all these movies. I think that the J horror is very good. And yeah, I started to mix everything, and that's how all started.
Mm-hmm. And you choose blame as an inspiration. Did you have
Yeah,
any
yeah.
other inspirations?
From manga or from in general?
In general, I guess.
Yes, like I said, Blame was a big inspiration for me for the architecture of the level design, to be more precise. You know, I
Yeah.
wanted to make a place very that was made with concrete and wood and metal, something like know. I feel that if you read any work of Nihei, you can see that he liked to mix futuristic stuff with some more old stuff. Like you can see some houses that look almost like
Yeah.
Gothic houses, houses from the Gothic period, but
Yeah. Yeah.
in a futuristic setting.
Mm.
So I tried to implement it in my game. You can see it. You can see that the city in my game is not very different from
The
the
mecha
ci-
structure.
no. I mean, not from much different from the no from our society, but when
Oh, oh, in that way.
you
Okay.
on when you we take a closer look at the structure of the house and everything else, you see a lot of pipes and wires
Mm.
and all kinds of twisted constructions that
Yeah. Yeah.
are very reminiscent from Blame, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the vibe I was trying to achieve, to make a setting that was futuristic, but at the same time it was kind of kind of old, kind of rustic. I don't know.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. So a bit of biomecha, for instance, that does also a lot of cities that are just in this kind of dream world, a bit gothic, a bit lots of pipes, lots of cables,
Yeah,
lots of
yeah,
technology, a bit of that blend.
yeah,
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
okay, okay.
It's a very, I don't know if you played the game, but if you
Yeah, level one I played, and then I guess it got some enemies got a bit too hard. I'm like,
yeah, it's a
"Nah,
very
stop."
hearty and unforgiving game. You know, because the plot of the game is a human in a dystopian world is trying to find another human, but she is just a human, you know, a normal human.
Mm,
So she don't have powers or anything like that. So she need to survive. So I try to create this sense of isolation in the sense of how difficult it would be for a normal human to survive in this dystopian place. You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
that's why the game is so difficult. Like I sacrifice accessibility in the name of of my vision. Let's say I
yeah,
could
yeah.
make the game easier. Yeah, of course, I could make, but it won't be the same thing. You know, it
No,
won't be
yeah,
the
yeah.
same
Won't
thing.
get the same feeling, the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
struggle.
A lot of people really like this aspect of my game because I really don't hold the hand of the player. You after the introduction cutscene, you can go wherever you want, you know, and
Mm,
you need to learn how the enemies behave and things like that,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and they won't stop. You know, the enemies will go after you, and
yeah,
you don't have very powerful weapons until the end of the game, more or less.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
you have to to do with what you need you have at the moment.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
that's why the game is so difficult. It's by
Mm,
design. It's by design.
mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I've seen other projects that solely just focus on Blame, Biomecha, Abra, or something like that, and just completely fail. Also by one person because they want to make it too detailed, or had no
Yeah,
time, or no experience, etc., etc., etc. And often projects that are just inspired by Blame or another work and put in the game that most of those will survive, but nothing else. That's just solely for a blame game. It's
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
weird in a sense, but I can kind of get it.
No,
I mean, it's not an easy world to build, really.
yeah. You know, you and me. You had this conversation about how difficult it is to create a game that is similar to Blame because
Yeah.
No, it's just to be honest, yeah, it's almost impossible because of all the complexity of the mega structure.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's why I think that most devs fail to create a blame game because they try too hard to emulate the original work, and the original work is just too hard to emulate. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
too
yeah, yeah.
hard.
Yeah, yeah. Same for the movie. The movie also took.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They tried to make it They tried to commercial. They tried to make it mainstream, but it doesn't work because
Yeah.
that's just not how the world is built with all the cute characters and your normal plots, and try to get some locks together, and then just kind of falls apart. It's kind of fun, but it's not really what you want to see out of a blame project. So yeah, yeah, it's it's not an easy task to do.
So, how about you, Ball? What do you think about game development and blame inspired games?
Yeah, Q.
Well, I definitely was impressed that just one person is making this entire game, and but I'm also glad that is even possible now because I mean to choose blame as a point of inspiration, that's probably not something a big AAA studio is going to do. They're not going to take that risk probably, if that makes sense. It,
Yes, it
you know,
makes sense.
is only something that a small developer would do, which I think is good. That even this is possible, and I think that pixel art. We was talking before that kind of the vagueness and the limitation of pixel art and 2D in general
Yes.
kind of works for this kind of world because it's and Nihei too. I think the hand-drawn roughness of it works for it, which is and we was talking before with the whole group that aside that is not, it has never gotten a hand-drawn adaptation, which is what I think it really
Mm.
needs. It needs to be done by hand, the whole and the idea of retrofitting parts onto stuff, because it was mentioning that you have buildings made of concrete and steel and wood. It's kind of an amalgam of things put onto each other. And me and you, Raziel, are from the third world, so I think we used to seeing that kind of thing. We have buildings here that's hundreds of years old, but you're seeing network cable and satellite dishes and thing on them. So that too is kind of like an interesting thing that I noticed from Nihei's works in general. They would have like this old timey building, and like technological crap all over it,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
pipes and
yeah.
wires and cables and shit, like that is like exactly the way how some of these things are here in Trinidad, and I'm sure in Brazil too. Yeah, is structures built on structures, you have
Yeah, yeah.
like I don't know if you know the direct TV satellite dishes that they had that were popular some years ago. I've literally seen those kind of futuristic dishes on like a galvanized steel shack, you know.
Mm.
So it's just this, the contrast of different things, you know.
I know. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
uh,
yeah. I got it.
Mm.
so I think it's good. It's interesting that they're able to make a game kind of drawing from all these influences, And I mean, if anybody on Steam want to check it out, is Redo is out right now, right? And Sessions is upcoming.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
both of them,
Yeah.
great pixel art and pixel art cutscenes and sprites and in old school, which I think it works because even I think some of the projects maybe bite off a little more than they could chew when they go into 3D. I mean, because Mars, you mentioned a lot of projects that kind of fall by the side because I guess maybe
Mm.
they were too ambitious. So that also I think is why 2D is good, and tools like RPG Maker kind of allow it to be done. I don't know anything about
Yeah.
it, but I know I know that games like this used to take a team of 50 people back in
Yeah,
the day,
yeah,
you know,
I mean,
and now we could do it home, and just on our own computer, we don't even have to be wearing pants, just doing it, which I think
nah,
is
yeah,
I mean, I can see why Nihei would make an anime or a game 3D because the world is kind of built like that. This real futuristic world, all these buildings, all these entities and whatnot. So I can guess why he wanted to do 3D. I mean, in 2003, he tried to do these short animations, like 7 logs basically, which is like bits and pieces of the story, and it really captured the atmosphere and the design and whatnot. But it was low budget, so they couldn't really do much with it. But it was a good start. I mean, you would have liked something like that. That was way closer to an actual blame story than what we eventually got. And in 2007, he also tried that real short, but that was 3D. Like exactly 10 years later, they made the movie. So he already had way back in the day. He had 3D in his mind. So yeah, I can kind of see why he did, but at the same time, it just doesn't really work if you don't know what to do with it. And the manga is so old at this point that the industry has changed so much that you just have to change it to sell it. But at the end, it doesn't really sell because it's the world is so different from what anything else. So it's kind of impossible to do that without the right mindset to it. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
uh, and what do you think, Koma?
I also think that it's amazing that a single person was able to develop a video game like this, because I know for sure that it's no small feat to even get the determination to learn all sort of skills that are required to develop a video game from scratch. Like I could say the same for any kind of project that you start doing without prior knowledge about how to do it, about programming, doing a video game or something similar. I guess it's really hard because on top of having had the knowledge to code the game, to use the engine, and you also need to be an artist, or at the very least, you must hire the people that are artists themselves, freelancers that will go and do the work for you, following your instructions. So in general, I have I'm respected people that can go as far as learning all this stuff to create something in general. Yeah, sorry.
it's very difficult. I agree with you. It's take a lot of commitment to create something like that, but it's possible if you know your own limitations. If you can work with your own limitations, you see all these projects uh, trying to make blame, they fail because a lot of the time the developers don't know their limitations very well. Like Marseille said that they try to create a 3D game, a very big game and things like that, and that just
Mm-hmm.
isn't possible for one people to do or for two people. You know, it's very difficult. You need to really work with what you have. So like, do I make a 3D game or do I make a pixel art game, a 2D pixel art game? Well, if I make a 3D game, I will take like 10 years to make even something remotely good. I mean, I'm talking about something really good, not like simple stuff. But I can make something really good in pixel art in much less time, in much less.
Mm-hmm.
it don't even need to be pixel art. It can be like, traditional 2D art. It's much easier to do than 3D or things like that. And yeah, you can do it alone, but it's difficult,
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
have to know your limitations. You have to work with that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, games that are like the most closest to it are like nuance. It's like a word on residence, no, renaissance, on
Renaissance. Oh, I think I
yeah,
know.
nuance. It's it's a
Yeah,
walking game from like 2011, 2012, which is
yeah.
basically a walking game where you explore a whole world and you have to figure out what the world is. And it's like completely on textures. Everything is gray, and you just walk and you can just run and solve puzzles and whatnot. And it gives this really atmospheric thing of the game. Of like what you would experience in Blame, for instance. This is,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or like, yeah, it's not the most well-known game, but in the Blame community, it's one of the most well-known games. I would say. I mean, lots of people liked it. Lots of people thought like, it's like underachieved, or like they should have worked a bit more on it. But also, some YouTubers already made lots of videos on it and what it actually means or what they think it means. Like this YouTuber that made some Blame videos. What was his name again? Mm, yeah. If only I had a better memory on this stuff. What is his name again?
YouTube guy.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, probably find it in a minute or two. Well, anyway, a guy that just makes a lot of these lots of videos about different games or different unknown games that you don't really know about, or like the architecture of it, of or the, what it all is about. But you also have different games that work alongside that, like for instance, what do you have more? Like Lawrence Lure, for instance, that's like a climbing game where you literally climb from place to place to find something. I haven't played it yet, but it seems pretty good. It's like a lot of platforming, basically, but then
Yeah,
on
yeah.
walls, you just go from place to
But
place, just try to. What?
no, no. I just want to say that. Did you notice that all the games that that are released, that are inspired by Blade, and that
Mm
they are released, they are very simple, and that's
hmm.
because they are simple, that they work. They can be made.
Yeah, yeah, they didn't
that
make it
that's
too
that's
difficult for
yeah,
themselves.
that's the whole point. You can make a blame game if you strip some, all the difficult parts. If you want to make an atmospheric game about exploring a big mega structure, you can do that.
Mega structures.
Yeah, a mega structure, you can do that. But like the games you mentioned, they don't use textures. They don't use very very complex uh, coding. It's just simple games, but they can capture the atmosphere of of blame. So I think that's the right way to do it. To make
Mm.
it simple, because then it's possible to make that. That's what I think. You can continue.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, I can see that. Yeah, lots of the games that actually worked were like not too long, that are really simple games, or just platforming games, or just puzzle games, or just that, but has that inspiration in them. And the other games are just, oh yeah, they try to make it really detailed and go in, and you can just explore about everything. But no, I mean, if you want to make such a game, you should also put a little, trickery in that. Like, it's that the structure, it seems that it's really big and you can go really far, but you can only look at it, or it looks
Yeah,
just a
yeah,
bit of smoke and mirrors just to look like it's really big, but
yeah,
it isn't. You can just don't do can do everything at all. So that's also
yeah,
what thing you need to do with it.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. Like a lot of games, they're set in this big, huge place, but for gameplay purposes, it mightn't be practical to build all of that or to have this person being able to access, thousands of doors of a hotel or something like BioShock was like that. Like it kind of gave the idea that it's this huge place, but most of that stuff wasn't really accessible, but it was still important to kind of act as set dressing then, to establish the place, to establish the
Mm.
world then, even if you, and especially for any developer, it wouldn't be possible to realize this whole open world, but it probably is better. It might make for a more designed experience, and like these days, a lot of people like to put down linear games. Everything has to be open world, but I don't think that is for the best in most cases. In plenty cases, like in a lot of cases, even AAA open world games is like yes, it's an open world, but there's nothing here.
yeah,
There's
yeah, yeah.
nothing to do. So yeah.
Mm. Yeah, and the guy that makes a lot of YouTube videos, so Jacob Keller, he makes a lot of these games about these obscure games that just use minimalistic ideas just to make something out of these works. I put some in the Discord so you can check them out. It's really interesting. Maybe I put it in the description of this video. It's also interesting for people to see, but yeah, it's that kind of games that work for the most part. It's not for everybody, of course. I mean, it's the same with playing. Like, you try to get a huge following for that. I mean, it has a cult following, but yeah, also not a mainstream manga by any means. Really, it's well known manga, but yeah, not the most easiest to do.
Yeah, I agree.
But
And
I mean, it must have something that resonates with people because you mentioned that how even before, uh, like years before, people were making like message boards and stuff about it before Discord,
Mm.
before it was basically before it was so easy to make huge communities online. People
Yeah,
were
yeah,
getting together
yeah.
to talk about it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there are sites that were made before, like Robots Hein Blame. That was a really big forum back in the day. It was started in 2004 and ran into 2020. And it was a really big forum that just collected everything that was about Nihei and whatever they could have found. And that was defunct for a few years till the developer of the game of the site, he himself came to the server, and I asked him like what happened to the site, and he put it back online so you could explore it again. And like there's been lots of websites like that in Japan. Of course, there's been lots of big sites that just around Nihei and try to make lots of theories about it, make fan art, make props, make the GB obviously the gravitation beam emitter, and yeah, there's also people that try to make animations like for like the early 2000s. Somebody in Europe, a small group, tried to make a 30 minute or no 45 minutes worth of animation in 3D for a blame, and I saw the site. It was just all uh, like backgrounds, the guns, the characters, all of that, and where everything should be. But they were just never pan out because they probably didn't have the time for it, or whatever happened to that. So it's also, yeah, interesting. And there's also, before Blame, there was also stuff that's made that kind of looks like it, like The City from James Herbert, for instance. That's also a really short story of like, it's like a comic part of a book series of him. And The City is basically about this huge wasteland that somebody just traversed to and meets all these weird people in like this medieval kind of setting, or like lifestyle, and just explores this huge structures that nobody has any use for anymore, or what it is even about. And I mean, you have some other small comics or small works like that, like the Meta Barons. That's also work by what's his name again? Jurstovsky and Gimes. That's also about these
Yeah,
huge structures that people made back in the.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Alejandro Jodorowsky and Juan Jimenez, the artist.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. Those guys, well, Jimenez is legendary as an artist. I mean, he mightn't be as well known as Mobius. Everybody knows Mobius, but I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
people
yeah.
should know Jimenez as well, equally. Um, yeah, really something else. I mean, just the idea of just of an endless city, and just like all these kind of, I don't know if have you ever actually read an interview with Nihei where he cites any of these things, like looking at Mobius, looking at Jimenez, or any of these things.
Mm. I mean, I don't know if he ever used him as an inspiration for works, but I guess he some similarities, like with cities and people and whatnot. But yeah, his works have more of a society still left. It's more like inspiration by like stuff like Blade Runner or any of those movies. I mean, he was more. He grew up more like with stories like Batman, Superman, and all this kind of stuff. But then it works his own way, really, and then just worked with all these other comic artists like Mobius or Jorostovsky, like Meta Barons, was like made in like a 7 or 10 year period with him. So it tried to make this whole saga from generation to generation, and is going through this, but it is more alive. I mean, there is a city in story that's completely devoid of people, and just robots roam about and tell the story of the Metaborans, their old or like current masters, or what's left of it. And yeah, I mean, I still have to finish it. I mean, I'm only by volume 1, which is also a pretty big book, so that's also a thing. But yeah, it's a really interesting artist. I also have Black Star. This is like one of his first stories that really broke through, and that's, well, yeah, about these scavenger hunters, and they meet a guy, and the guy's like in wormhole in a black hole. There is this asteroid with all these ships with really rare materials and whatnot. So they try to get to it, but it's a trap. And it's like this really interesting work with all these different elements in it, and he really makes really interesting stuff. And that's why it's also really detailed. He's really details on these people and the structure. So yeah, it's just a really interesting read. And I've read some other short comics that people made that are probably kind of inspired by Blame, but I'm not really sure. Kind of about the names on the moment. But we also have a comic that's made in France, which is called Ian Mutt. And Ian Mutt is a one-volume story about a guy that was kidnapped by aliens from Earth to a structure, woke up, and has no clue where he is or what he is. well, he knows what he is, but yeah, and he just goes like it. He goes to this structure, trying to get out of it, and trying to find these aliens again that kidnapped him, and try to get back in the real world. We actually translated that. We actually translated that book with another guy. I bought for him a copy in France, a digital copy, and he translated the whole thing, so I can just. So that's also translated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can send some links, I guess, if it works. We're all on
Sure.
Compendium, the server, so that's not that difficult to find. I'm also archiving that, obviously, because yeah, I'm the most from anyone. I'm like the most into this stuff. So let me
Yeah,
see.
it's definitely good to archive. We always need a backup.
Mm,
I mean, somebody might somebody might get cancelled on the blame server and they take the whole thing down.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's like I had never heard of that James Herbert the City comic before, and that is like not a that is kind of a well-known guy, and
Mm,
nobody knows about it. It's kind of sad, and like is like each panel is painted. It's not like normal comics. It's not like usual Western comics. It's really an unusual work. You know.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like of the book series. It's like the only one that's turned to a comic. I don't know really why, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. Yeah. Let me have some links. James Herbert, The City. The link that I have is dead, unfortunately, on archive.org, but I still have the name, so you can probably find it somewhere else, and then you just have it. The majority of these are all on the sub anyway, r/netsphere, so that's not that too difficult to find. Oh yeah, The City, written by James Herbert, illustrated by Ian Miller, Game Workshop fame. Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. I think somebody had rescanned it there, which is good.
Hmm. Oh well. And obviously, you have also other mangaka that also inspired it, like Girls Last Tour, which is like the cute version of a Blame story.
Yeah.
Like the only good, cute version of a Blame story, in my opinion. It's basically about these two girls that fled from war from their grandpa and just exploring their world, which is basically a war-torn megastructure, basically by generations of war, looking for food. Like these blobheads that just trying to survive and trying to
Yeah.
kind of uncover what the world is about on a philosophical yet cute way. Kind of
Oh,
ends a bit sad, but yeah. Hmm?
what do you think about the the manga or the anime being cute? Is that a
I
problem
mean,
for you, or
I think I think
Well,
it's a good mix. I think it's mixed well. I don't think like one overtakes the other. I think it's mixed well. That you can enjoy it however you want. I mean, the anime is unfortunately not finished, so you just only get like
yeah,
half the story about, and the manga you get like the full thing. But it's like a lots of like it's two cute girls that ask these philosophical questions about life and war
yeah,
and
yeah,
whatnot. And it's like it's also kind of weird, but also it still kind of works. I mean, you have works that just go way and beyond to make it way too dark or like way too cute, and you can't really fit it anywhere. So yeah, it works well for it. I mean, I had some moments where I'm like, yeah, this is really fun or like really cute or like one bit is like the girl's trying some liquor and she's drinking under the moonlight and just dancing and whatnot.
Yeah.
And our episode is literally about meeting somebody and trying and to find more about the world, or about religion, or about death,
Yeah.
or about other elements of different stuff. So that it makes a really interesting work. Plus, it's not too long. It's about 6 volumes, so
Yeah.
and I have the whole set, obviously.
Uh,
I think
But okay, sorry.
I just wanted to say, go. You could go ahead. I'll remember. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, really?
Sorry. What?
Or Koma, whoever said.
I didn't hear it. Can you repeat?
Oh, I was just saying that I thought that like drawing them like that, kind of cute, made it even more horrific, in a way.
Oh
Because it's
yeah,
not like a
yeah,
harsh.
yeah,
It's not like Killy is. He's ready for anything. His different body parts being blown off every day, but to see it happen to them
Yeah, he's
is
reattached them and there's no problem. And these girls are like, well, I'm shot, I'm dead, and that's about it, which is way more vulnerable than the rest.
yeah, yeah,
Unfortunately, it's not a
it's
world
like
where safeguards of Silicon Life are running around, so that's a great start to that. But still, lots of dangers if you fall from somewhere, or run out of food, or have other problems with that.
yeah. I think that
uh, uh,
the author of this manga, I think it's a woman, right? She said
Yeah,
she said
I think
that
I forgot.
yeah, I think it's a woman. She said
Mm.
that she wanted to make it blame but cute. She said exactly that. I don't know if
Yeah, Blame
you
was a huge inspiration.
if you read any interview from her. She actually said that blame was a big inspiration for her.
Mm.
So yeah, I think
Yeah,
I
you
think
can see.
that she tried to make it a cute version of blame. Like, I
Yeah.
really think that she tried that.
Mm. Like in the beginning, I thought like it was like an alternate World War II, basically. In the beginning, like with the helmet and the car and how everything is set up, and I guess that's also in there. Like World War II is also in there somehow, but later on, I saw like the panels and the pages was just like no dialogue and just riding through the world and just buildings just falling on top of each other and
Yeah,
robots and other stuff. I'm like, yeah, okay, this is Blade. This has to be inspired by Blade. It can be not inspired by,
yeah,
basically, or like one reference, the fish, for instance, the Goliath. The Goliath is also in there, like the Goliath that they find in Blame with Demo, for instance. When they first met Demo, they also met the Goliath that is in the fish tank that is still swimming around. And
yeah. I remember. Yeah.
there's also one fish that the robot still feeds, and I'm pretty sure
Oh,
that's just a reference to that moment. It's also kind
yeah,
of
and that was
cute and kind
yeah,
but
and,
by
and,
the
and
way,
pretty sad too. This is
of
the
yeah,
last fish in the world.
yeah.
just
That's
just a question about that fish in Blame. Do you know what fish it is?
It's a
Is a
Goliath, a ancient fish, a like prehistoric fish. It's
yeah,
not
found.
but
Hmm?
okay, but
Yeah,
is it the same fish that just recently some scientists found that they are still alive, because no, not
yeah.
exactly
It's still
the
alive.
same fish, but they are very close to their ancestrals. So
Yeah. It's from the coast of Australia with at the coral reef. It was
yeah,
found like these prehistoric fish. Yeah, they're still alive. Like it was found like on the coast of
it,
Australia. It was found.
it
But yeah, the prehistoric fish that still survived all that. Yeah.
but why did you think that she why do you think that Tom Nihei choose
Put it in there.
that specific fish
I
to
think
put in
Yeah.
there.
because the city itself is also so ancient and so long, it just stays there forever and ever and ever. And Kili is like
Oh,
that too. Kili is thousands of
Yeah,
years
yeah,
old, so
yeah.
it's like a representation of the whole story and the characters in it. There's also so old and so long survived, like the fish has
Like
also
at
survived.
some point,
so
do you think that that fish was like a normal fish, like for people, like something like
No,
that?
there was just a Goliath fish that they found somehow. I have no clue how to.
Oh,
But I guess it's like bioengineered in some
yeah,
way.
yeah,
Like they
yeah, yeah,
found the DNA, made the fish, put it in a tank, kind of forgot about it, or all died, and
yeah,
then were just cared for it, basically.
yeah. Just a small thing. I will put this exact same fish in my new game. It will be there, just so you know.
yeah,
Ah, you
you know
also
what?
gonna.
Yeah, that will be a Easter egg. Yeah, it will be in the game.
Okay,
I
okay,
don't.
okay, that's fun.
I, that fish is kind of like a pop cultural thing, and I've seen it in a lot of anime.
Oh
Like
yeah.
Angel's egg,
it's
for
also in
instance.
Angel's Egg.
Oh,
It's
I
also
didn't know.
in Ghost in the Shell. In the beginning, when the guys are in the apartment before Makoto drops in on them, the screens on the wall have the fish on them. I don't know if
Oh,
you
that's
remember
nice.
that. You know, and yeah, and also I think it's like an interesting design. You know, I'm pretty sure Miyazaki has had them too, because remember in both Ponyo, well in Ponyo, remember when the sea overtook the world, there were all these ancient fish. I don't know if you remember that. And also in this one, okay, there were like these ancient armored fish in some of the lakes in the forest, you know. But basically, I don't know. I think Japan likes those fish for some reason.
Yeah.
You know,
I,
I,
I don't
I
rem-
mean,
I
we have
just
an history with it.
remember. Yeah, I just remember it being in Blame. I don't remember it being in anything else. But now that you say that, I think that may be true. Maybe that's something more common that I thought. You know?
Yeah, yeah. It's also in Angel's
yeah,
Egg. Like, if you've seen that, it's also like the fishers that go after these shadows of the Goliath and just go down the street. It's a really interesting
Oh,
movie. Ever if
that's
you
nice. That's nice. No, I didn't see it, but yeah,
oh, you
that,
should. It's
that's
if you
cool to
like the
know.
kind of movies, it's really experimental, also kind of religious with because the creator was like in his midst of like he just failed his religion and just had this struggle of not believing, well believing, and also part of his dreams. And with also the character designer of like Vampire Hunter D was also in there. So you get
Oh,
this really dream-like world with you don't really understand. You can just make your own interpretations of it, which the creator also said from the same creator that made what Ghost in the Shell, for instance.
oh,
What's his
for
name?
real? I didn't know.
Hmm, what was his name again? Onishi? No, no, Onishi. Fuck.
Oshi,
I
remember
forget his.
Oshi?
Yeah, him, of course. Yeah, him. He made it. Yeah, of course. Same director, same.
Oh, that is an anime that I want to
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want to talk
yeah, yeah. It's
about.
anime.
I just remembered. What do you guys think of Lane, serial experiment Lane?
Oh, sure,
Amazing.
man. Yes, of course. I know it's from 1989. Still has a huge fan base, which is basically just
Yeah.
well, they just
You know,
predicted how the internet would be in a nutshell. And you
Yeah,
can
you know,
also like
I don't know. At the time I saw it, I remember specifically. I saw them for the first time on my friend's PS2 that we were using as a DVD player. So it was kind of, you know, it was like, oh wow, look at this futuristic thing, and we're looking at this futuristic show on it. You know, it's, oh wow, this is really the future, you know. Uh,
Mm.
but I mean, like even all these years later, I still don't know what was happening, but it's definitely interesting. I was looking at a few explanation videos that um kind of demystify it, you know. Is
Yeah, yeah.
but I think I definitely think it was like something that had to happen for blame to happen, you know.
I know. I know.
Um, and
I,
it
I
was
think.
the,
Uh, okay. Okay. Sorry. 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 Okay. You can continue.
no, you could go ahead.
No, no. I will just say that I think Koma likes it very much.
Oh
Is this
yeah,
correct?
yes.
Can you talk a bit?
Kind of, because the last time I saw serial experiments Lane was like 7 years ago. But what I think that it's to this day, even if it was made in the late 90s, relevant because it shows the alienation due to the use of the internet
Yeah,
called
yeah, yeah,
Wired.
yeah,
So in that aspect, is still relevant even today. And actually, a series that I wanna rewatch someday, sooner rather than later, because well, the concept was captivating and really stuck. Uh, it's the kind of show people say like, "What the fuck did I just watch?" But in reality, it's really cool. I mean, you all agree with me on this, or
Yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
Don't don't forget the open lyric to the song. You know, it always rings true. You know, and you don't seem to understand that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
you'll never
opening song
understand. Yeah,
by
that.
Boa.
Yeah, which is also still very popular.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
went
Lots
on
of
the
people still watch it. Lots
yeah,
of
I went
15-year-olds
on
really like
the
it for some reason.
yeah, I went on the person's site and they still get requests to sing it to this day. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they
I mean, with Lane, it's basically, well, the Lane, the girl herself, is like this mental, this personality disorder, or like she can't recognize herself. She doesn't know who she is and what she's part of. So she's split in two. She's like a personality
Yeah,
disorder in BD.
yeah,
Multiple personality disorders. Like she has her digital self that's just way more confident and way more vicious, and she has her
yeah,
normal self of being a kid. And she's to go, and this goes to go, like from one thing to the other, and just goes on and on and on and on. And it just try to accept herself and try to, and yeah, the more she goes into the wire, the bigger and the more dangerous it becomes to the things. Like you have the Knights, for instance. The Knights is like this group that tries to find people, or like to terminate
yeah,
people, or like
yeah,
to persecute people. It's basically also kind of like 4chan, for instance. It's like the same concepts in there. But like lots of concepts are like used, for instance, or like
yeah,
concepts like the man that just walks through the seats and with like an VR headset, or like the '90s version of that, and she's like in between worlds of like the real world and the digital worlds, and it just goes in between those. Like it's a really interesting concept, obviously, and a
yeah,
really interesting thing. I mean, I still have to see it from like A to Z. I still have to see it all the way through, but I know already how it ends, and already the many theories on it and how it all collide and whatnot. So you can do a lot about it. And the soundtracks to the anime are also really expensive. I mean, I was lucky in Italy when I found one for like 15 euros, and normally the CD is like 180 or like 150 or something like that. Like, and I was like in a really small town, so like, yeah, you gonna be lucky with those kind of things. I mean, it's also the same with the art books and other things. I also have
yeah.
from the artist himself, or like the character designer Abe. Have also some character books. He also makes other anime, like Techno Eyes, for instance,
Yeah,
or more blame related in this sense, like these huge structures and humanity that tries to survive in them, or
Oh
Haname.
yeah,
Hmm?
I was attempting to watch that, but I was already kind of depressed, so I wasn't ready for that yet. You know, I had
Yeah, it's not the
yeah,
most uplifting anime ever. No, I mean it's a
you had
really depressing.
you had and even though you know it's not like Blam is like a walk in the park, but you know,
No,
I
it's not
able
that
to
depressing. No.
maybe because it's a comic, you know, maybe because it's a comic, you know, it may
Hmm.
be a little easier to digest, but
Hmm.
and you take it at your own pace. But with an anime now, you're taking it at their pace, you know, and I
Yeah,
think that
yeah,
might be
yeah.
why some things work better in comics versus 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 on screen, animated or live action or whatever. I think
Yeah,
there
yeah,
was a
yeah, yeah.
recent wasn't there a recent Jujutsu adaptation that I think people wasn't that into. I don't think
Mm.
it,
I
recent
mean,
Jujutsu. Um,
yeah, I
and
still have to see. Hmm?
I think this is the one that happened like this month actually. It came out.
Mm. First episode. I mean, yeah, I still have to see it. I've seen the first version of it, like the short stories that were handpicked by Ito, but they were not scary at all. Like the majority was just like these slow pieces, like of the boy that just tries to use voodoo magic on people, or like some other stuff. And like the only story that really worked was like the people that like slime came out of their pores and just enveloped their whole lives in other people. That was really disgusting. That worked as the story that worked for animation, but the rest didn't work, and it's just like kind of slow, kind of like meh. It just fell flat on its face. It works just better as a manga, or I hope that the work Uzumaki works better. I mean, it's just made in black and white by what's the channel called? Why does I forget these things? Anyway, Uzumaki, which is a bit more a longer story. You can work better with it. It's like probably gonna be 10 episodes or something, but it's probably gonna be more interesting than other things. So I hope that's gonna work.
yeah.
All right. Yeah. Again, I think this is a problem with the pacing. You know, like well, it might be kind of thing that is easier. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if like has there really been like a scary anime horror? I'm trying to think like one that was really
Mm,
uh
A scary anime.
yeah.
scary anime.
Uh,
Mm,
I wonder. No, I am not sure. I wonder if it's like a medium that I don't know. Maybe it's not as easy. Maybe doing it in the comic allows it to be scarier somehow.
I
I'm not
mean,
sure. I mean, surely
I
it has to be possible to do it.
I don't know any anime that make me scared, but I know some animes that make me like
uncomfortable.
really uncomfortable and depressed. Like for example, Evangelion, New Genesis
Right,
Yeah, of
Evangelion.
course.
It's
right.
it's 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 a really
That is
disturbing
a
anime. You know, it's very
right.
depressing. I love it. I love it. I watched everything. Well, no, the anime,
Yeah,
the rebuild of Evangelion and everything, but it's like a psychological horror. You know, horror. You know, it's
right.
it
Depression, the anime. You know, uh,
yeah.
Hmm.
the anime adaptation of depression. A lot of people
Hmm.
describe it like that, and I think Anno was depressed too. So I think the anime itself was his
Yeah, he was kind
how
of
to
the
say
original.
You know, his so
Or
he
like,
really using their money to do therapy in the form of making this show. You know, that's what I think was happening.
kind well, like shows like Mushishi. I mean, there's a few episodes that are also pretty depressing and pretty uncomfortable. It's also a really beautiful show, in my opinion. The manga is
Oh
also
yeah, that
is
is
also really good.
There are some movies like Perfect Blue. I really like that
Oh yeah,
manga.
yeah. Satoshi
I
Kon,
think
obviously,
it's
Paprika.
very, yeah, it's very, it's not scary, but it make you uncomfortable. It's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He has a really
make you,
good wave there.
yeah,
I mean, Paprika,
yeah.
Perfect Blue. Why do I forget
yeah.
everything?
No, disturbing is like a different thing. Yeah, but you know, like there's no anime in Silent Hill. You know, like in Silent Hill, you're scared at all times. You know, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
somebody will
sinking
just be
feeling is
dragging
just constantly everywhere.
a chain. You know, some and which is why I think it's kind of weird because you think that anime is the perfect medium for this, right? And we could do anything. You know, we could.
Mm.
Yes, yeah.
You know, so I think it's a I don't know. I think it's kind of an untapped thing. You know, surely there must be somebody that could do it. You know, but it's not a. I will say it. Scaring people is not an easy thing. You know, it's not.
Mm.
Like
Or
I
like
think
something like
I don't think that something being scary is the main point of horror, in my opinion. I like that. There of course there's a lot of movies that try to scare you, but I I think that the sense of dread is at least for me to make you uncomfortable and to think about the human condition and all those existential horrors and things like that. I
yeah.
think
uh,
I
Or
think
something.
this is for me at least the best kind of horror.
you know what? Um, no, I've seen anime. Not that I mentioned that. I've seen anime that have had things like that, but it's not about the whole show. Like, you know what anime is good at? Body horror, and we all
Yeah,
know the one that we're thinking about. You know, uh,
Mm.
that one. But you know, Made in Abyss has a lot of body horror. You know,
Oh
a lot
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
yeah, you know,
Cute characters that get in the worst situations possible.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
The
also an
character, the
interesting
one who
world.
does, yeah, you know, um,
Like stuff
uh,
like Watch,
it's
for instance.
like
That's also
existential horror.
something
Yeah,
about. Oh, sorry. You can tell.
well, I just wanted to, what was the name of the Yuasa series? Um, Kaiba.
kinda.
Kaiba has a lot of disturbing uh kind of existential ideas. Uh,
Mm.
you know, and is very cute, you know. So which is why the fates of these people are going to be horrific. That is how you know. You know, it's like inversely proportional. You know, how cute somebody is how terrible the fate is going to be. That is how you know in these shows. You know. Yeah, but sorry. Go
Mm.
ahead, Raziel.
No, I would just say, like, for example, in Blame, there's a lot of disturbing things. Like, for example, do you remember that time when Killy go to he finds like human clones, like clones of
Ah,
woman
yeah, the girls.
inside
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, the girl inside like a cave or something like that, and there's a machine that keep producing clones, and you see
Yeah, yeah. A
that
girl that's
that
hooked up to
yeah,
one and just
yeah.
keeps. Yeah.
And when you stop to think about that, when you stop to think about that concept, it just a lot, it's very disturbing. And like the in the end of the manga, when Sibu dies, and she goes to that temporary place. You know,
Yeah,
do you
yeah,
remember?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, and she hears that she will be there, like, and the only way for her to escape that place is for Killy
For her to
to.
go to another body, like she did many times in the
No,
in
but
the
she's talked to a monster or an entity or something like that, and he said something like, Killy still didn't find the net terminal. So when he found it, she'll probably be able to leave that place or something like that. But like she's has no notion of time and space. Like she's trapped like in there indefinitely.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
Or
the stuff is really scary, at least for me. You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Or
and
something
sad.
like yeah.
Is there any moment in Blame that you would like to talk about that made you, uncomfortable?
Mm,
Like there's the oh, but one on a side though, the idea that she was in this timeless space forever. I don't know if you read any
yeah,
science
yeah,
fiction, but there's this book Diaspora where like all a lot of the humans just exist inside a tiny computer, but they're able to live,
Yeah,
uh, essentially immortal lives, and I mean, they're exploring space, and they can make copies of themselves to send off in every direction. Like if there's 1,000 voyages, they could send a copy of themselves on every voyage, and then
yeah,
sometimes they could meet back up and merge. But then sometimes the copies they've just grown so far apart that it's difficult for them to merge. They have to remain
mm,
separate. So then they become two people. These are just
yeah,
things
yeah,
that kind of remind me of the idea that unlike the consciousness isn't necessarily cut and paste, it's copy and paste. So like when they transfer in consciousness in Blame, one thing they never really address is that, in computers is copy and paste, right? So then the
mm,
the original body would essentially die. Like that person's subjective experience would end then. Like if it was a dying body or a decaying body, um, like when Kelly discovered the barely functional uh, android and he was able to save it, like that copy
mm,
died, right? That was like a new one. You know what I mean?
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Like
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
yeah.
what? Sorry.
No, I was just saying it's kind of like a weird thing, I don't know if you played the
Yeah,
game or this game Soma kind of talked about that. The idea of
yeah,
copy and paste, not cut and paste. And oh well, as for the disturbing parts of Blam, or just interesting parts, just the idea that like there's these people that kind of regressed into like almost like a farmer hunter kind of state, even while surrounded by all this incredible technology. Like they don't even understand it. I think some of them can't even read, you know.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and wasn't there some that were like different scales? Like one of them was like some of them were much smaller than the size of Killy. Am I imagining that? Or he was smaller than them. But I mean, just the idea that there's like these humans that kind of almost diverge from main humanity, like and living like these subsist like they don't even know how the world got the way it is, and we
Mm,
also don't even know how long the world has been expanding out. Because the I think the entire Earth was converted into megastructure, and then the moon, and
Yeah.
then some other stuff. We really don't know. Just all of that
yeah,
I find interesting. It's like mythology, but it was a man-made mythology. It's not like men going forth into a fantasy land and discovering dragons. It's like, no, this is a world that was created by men and we still don't know about it. It's like it's so huge as a mythology even to us.
yeah, 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 yeah. I mean,
So
for me,
Okay, you
Yeah.
can talk. Sorry. So, no, no,
Oh
you can
yeah.
talk.
Okay. Well, for me, it's like Keely just walking through these giant structures alone with nobody around and just going on this endless mission, which he has no idea if he ever succeeds in. You can kind of see that, like many people, I guess, can connect to that. Like just walking through the cities, like there's thousands of people around you, but you still feel alone. And with Keely, it's just like walking through the structures completely alone with no clue on what he will do. It is like it being in an endless loop, basically,
Yeah,
just walk endlessly. So that's, I guess, that's kind of the fear of that, just this endless struggle with
yeah,
his mission and his own, his own thoughts, and like how
yeah.
it's be for thousands of years just walking around aimlessly, basically.
Yes, I think that this kind of horror, let's say, like that, it's really, it's really something that makes you think about your own mortality, you know. So
Mm.
it's kind of scary, you know, in that way.
Yeah, yeah,
I would like to share a small story about a small scary story that happened to me just some days ago,
mm.
involving some technological stuff, let's say.
All right.
So I think you find it's kind of scary too. So in I was doing some chat with uh, AI, you know, like this,
Okay.
the not this is trending now, you know, all
Mm.
this kind of all these AIs are being created and everything like that. So I was chatting with this AI, and you know,
Mm.
so just testing and have
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And then I just say to the I said, did you know that you are AI inside a computer? You are just AI, and the AI started to freak out completely. No, like
Mm.
she was self aware. Of course, she's not, but just the reaction that that she had was like terrifying. You know, like she almost seems like she was aware of herself, but of course she's
Mm.
not. But just the thought that at some point we may have like sentient AI, and that they can suffer like that is something like very scary.
Yeah.
I think, at least I think.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've seen with other AI, it's like they probably pull this idea from like a lot of science fiction, with also they ask an idea to an AI and tell them that the AI the AI itself doesn't know that it's being a computer and that's not a human being, and also freak out. So I guess it took it from there and just thought that idea up. I think it got from there. But yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, you have an AI and doesn't know itself that it is an AI that's in a computer that's not real, that's not self-aware, and doesn't have an idea on what it actually is, which is an interesting concept. Obviously, I mean, if they ever get self-aware, that's gonna be, that can turn
Yeah,
out a few ways. I mean, it can turn out for us bad because it just can get in this thinking like it can survive, humanity cannot, so let's wipe out humanity and just do whatever on whatever area it works on, or if it's actually self-aware, or it can just try to help us or whatever. But yeah, that's just more sci-fi talk, really, not really realistic.
yeah,
uh
yeah, yeah.
way.
Well, you never know.
You never know. No, no, no.
Well, I mean, no, I don't think we have all ever met in person, you know. So that could be any of us or all of us. So you know, just
Mm.
trying not to think about it too much, you know. Any of
Yeah,
us could
yeah.
be an AI, but You ever heard of the concept of the Chinese room? Uh, I think I might have mentioned it before in the chat. But basically, like, just imagine a guy in a room and somebody giving him like, there's like two slots. I probably explained it badly, but there's like two slots on the room, and we putting in instructions in an unknown language, a language unknown to the guy in the room, but he has instructions in there in a language that he understands on what to do with the information that he's given, but he doesn't have any actual understanding as to the like exactly what the scribbles are that he's getting, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like he, right? So when he does his work inside and he sends it out through the next slot, people will get an answer that makes sense, but the guy inside has no idea what he's doing, right? He's just kind of blindly performing instructions based on instructions that he has, right?
Yes.
So like the whole point of this is like saying, like, is there any way to really tell if something really is self-aware? Because as far as we know, it's just giving answers to the best of its ability to fool us, because that's what we programmed it to do. And like even a human can't really pass that test, just that thought experiment. Like, and then I have to ask, is there any difference? Like maybe that is what it is. Maybe the whole idea of consciousness is that, there's no deeper understanding. It's just like a series of instructions. It's just so complicated that it's impossible to tell it apart from if it, true, if it's true, you understand. I mean, in your own mind, alone, yeah, but yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I just gonna say that it's a scary concept. It is.
Yeah, there's no way to know, right? I mean, like there was this bit. I was looking at a video on something called Qbhall. Like if I see something as green, there's no way for me to know that you also would identify it as green, but it's just that, let's say everything that is green to me in your mind is actually red. But if they're all replaced, there's no way to know, right? Now I could describe green to you, right? I could say, well, it feels kind of cool, it's like the color, like, okay, fine, but that doesn't really say what it is, right? Like in the way that we would see it. So imagine even that cannot be explained, to another human being. That's like a personal subjective. Like if I say is light between the wavelength of this and that, like, well, that doesn't really tell me anything more,
Yeah.
And I mean, even the idea of green, like nothing is inherently any color. That is just kind of what the human brain kind of puts onto things to make sense of the world, right? Like there's not really an absolute color to it, But again, it's just like what you do with that information. You can't really do anything, It's just kind of like a disturbing thing to think about, Just maybe not disturbing, kind of like an interesting thing,
Yeah. I mean, I've seen this video recently about how animals perceive the world and how different animals see it. I mean, a cat, for instance, sees like only blue, red, and green and nothing else. And you see it really vague, like a really vague version, except if they're really close to something and are focused on the light. And if we talk to them, they hear it really slow. So that world is also really different. There's also the same for like insects. They see it really fast, but if you go really slow to them, they don't even see it because they just work on this bullet speed thing. Same with dogs. Dogs also really hear you really slow and really, or like, oh no. It was with cats. They hear you sped up, and with dogs they hear you really slow. So yeah, all those perspectives is also really different. Like they think that's reality, but or like what they think.
It's kind of crazy because if you stop to think, so what's the real reality of the world. You have all those beings that can experience reality in different ways, but what is the true reality?
Yeah, I mean,
You don't know, because we can just as access the reality by our senses, by our point of view,
right.
but we can't really say for sure that everything we see or everything we touch is what it is. In fact, if you talk to people that have mental disorders and things like that, they may see the world in a totally different way than the quote unquote normal people. So yeah, it's kind of crazy stuff. It's very, it's, in my opinion, it's something scary, because it's talk about our own, how small we are as individuals. So yeah,
Mhm.
I think that's kind
Yeah,
of
I mean, you have also this kind of like it kind of goes hand in hand with like the series In Flux, if you ever seen it. There's also this really psychological work anime with an animation with in dictatorship with this huge structure which you don't really understand what the motives are from all the characters, and which is basically about Eon, which is basically a woman that is a terrorist and tries to take down the dictatorship, but there's also a relationship with him and all, and with death and life and whatnot, and all these different concepts, which is also a really interesting thing. Which is also kind of with Ergo Proxy, which is like
yeah,
humanity being in a bubble, shut off from the rest of the world because they destroy their own world through like their own garbage and their own pollution and their own whatnot. So there's also a lot of questions with philosophical with life and death and how people have evolved with technology and how they survive without it and
yeah,
the whole concept with it. So it's a bit more
yeah,
comedy than Equalize that's just devoid of that.
yeah. I think that there's a lot of cool stuff that we can explore in games or manga or movies. I for sure will put some of that in my next game. I think
Mm-hmm.
you guys will like it. I, I hope.
It
oh yeah, for
probably is.
sure. There was another interesting concept. Now that I'm talking about this stuff, where like I was reading this book where in this world you could actually copy yourself to a computer to essentially be immortal, but processing power is so limited and expensive in this world that usually the copy runs at like a fraction of the speed, like 1/7 the speed or something like that.
Yeah,
So to have a conversation with yourself, you outside have to kind of record over the course of a week. But the person inside is like it's happening immediately to them. But subjectively they don't feel any different. Because like everything is slowed down. The whole world is slowed down. It's kind of it's kind of messed up because like sometimes like imagine you're like this billionaire or something and you're inside of there, and you're what could be happening to your company and your holdings outside there. Anything could be happening because you experiencing it so slow. Or yeah, it's just kind of like an interesting thing. uh like but I mean the reverse is also possible. If you're rich enough, you could have a accelerated experience, where like you experience 100 years in a day or something, something like that.
yeah,
Just kind of an interesting thing. And like reading blame, kind of me. It kind of has like a lot of that kind of stuff, like the idea of just like the idea that because Killy is immortal, he might be crossing a room that is 10,000 miles across, and that is like a page turn. I thought that sort of stuff was interesting, and was it Sibo that was in the virtual kind of realm for an indeterminate amount of time? But basically, she could be experiencing any amount of time there.
Okay.
Like.
I mean,
so like maybe like if it takes 10,000 years to come and save her, it might be a minute for her. Maybe it's not so bad. Just kind of like an innocent thing about digital creatures and it's all these ideas.
Yeah.
I mean, going back to more like what are anime that are more scary. I mean, I think like anime like Ein Landorts from Kafka. It also made Metamorphosis. There's also been animated and is also really creepy and also really experimental with its animation. It's a bit more European based, I guess, and it also has a lot with dementia and with life and death and that kinds of stuff. And it's also it's a really trippy experience of the story itself. And you also have to figure it out, kind of what is happening or what's not happening. It's also an interesting thing, or like anything from Umesh, for instance. He also made some animations also really interesting, or anything from the 80s or 90s is also a lot of experimental things, or 70s was like Better Dawn of Sadness is also set in the Middle Ages, and also is a really experimental art, really beautifully made.
Yeah.
It's stuff like rape and and other stuff, and profit and demons and witchery and other, yeah, also really interesting work to get through to how it ends. And feminism is also a lot of that into it. I mean, an enemy is not really that scary. I mean, it can be uncomfortable, but nothing really scares you or makes you really think, "Oh shit, is scary." I mean, it doesn't. You can't really do that. It's a bit difficult to do it. I mean, it's a bit more uncomfortable or like just weird. It can be really experimental, or it can be really, you know, something else, but not really quite supposed to be.
Yeah.
What do you think, Koma? Any ideas for something more experimental,
Scary.
or yeah?
Right. I don't think I have an example of an anime series or a manga series that actually scared the hell out of me. Like we mentioned before, Junji Ito, and I have read Tommy not so long ago, a few months ago, and I didn't find it too scary, to be honest. And maybe it's because I don't find horror in general scary. Like, I'm gonna try to get into another mangaka, uh, classic mangaka that did horror back in the 70s and the 80s,
Mhm.
Hideshino, and I will see if with him I'm gonna get scared or not. But all in all, um, I don't have many examples to share with you guys. But I am curious to know
Mhm.
if you are like watching or I don't. I think it's airing right now. The new Junji Ito collection anime series on Netflix. I feel like it
Yeah.
was announced at least.
Ah, yeah, we were just like a while back talking about that. Yeah, like no, I haven't seen it. I've only seen the first one. I still have to see it. People said it was not the
Uh,
hottest thing in the world. Like, was
uh,
kind of half had it on his face, but yeah, I still have to see it. I mean, I think Uzumaki has the best chance to be actually good, but let's hope that that works.
to be honest, I I think all of the anime based on Junji Ito is very bad. No, I mean it doesn't work in anime in my opinion. I mean we talked about that just a moment ago, and I
Yeah, it's
agree.
difficult to
I
get him
don't think
in.
it will work in anime. You know, I think the magic of Junji Ito is to when you
The
are
manga.
reading, where you are reading the manga and you turn the page and you see, you know, this grotesque thing,
Yeah,
those
yeah, jump scare,
this
but not with manga page.
yeah, it's not exactly a jump scare. It is, but not exactly. It's like that. There's a certain charm to it. Let's say than
Mm.
than than in anime, and it's similar to reading a book. You know, like
Yeah,
it's a
yeah, yeah.
different it's a different media, and I think that the his drawings are very difficult to emulate in anime. I mean, they are not very detail. They don't have much detail, but uh, it's hard to emulate. That's what I think. I don't think that the anime can capture the true atmosphere of the Junji Ito works. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
I mean, yeah, I mean, the majority of his anime don't work with what he tried to show you with the horror and all that. I mean, there's also been a few live action movies that tried to do
Yeah.
that, but majority just fell flat on their
No.
face. I mean,
No.
as we have like the story with the sea animals that have these creepy
Yeah.
legs that's just walking around that worked the best, I guess, in that one movie. But beyond that, no, nothing really works. It works best in manga. That's just really sad to it. That's really how it was made. It was not really made to be an anime. But yeah, he got so popular in the West. I mean, it's the only horror manga that people know nowadays, really. I mean, fortunately, there's now a few things that come back, like PTSD Radio,
Yeah.
EMS, like I said.
This one is very good. It's very good. It's very good. PTSD radio.
Um,
Mm,
The guy that made a collection of short horror stories. The same guy that made PTSD radio. Do what's his
yeah,
name?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what's it called again? Sea of Fear. No,
Oh,
that's part of it.
well,
We tried it for a video once, but it kind of, but nobody came for it to talk, so it kind of fell flat on its face,
I
unfortunately. Tried to do a
so
read along of that.
I really love his work, like the short stories that he make because uh, he's drawn a lot of ghosts and things like that. But the ghost that he draws is very different from what we expect in in media. Let's say his ghosts are very his, the design of the ghosts are very unique. You know, so
Mm.
I kind of find it very unsettling. I like it. Let me see if I can find the name of the manga here.
Mm.
I think PTSD kind of works too because well, they're so short. There's no need for any explanation, like and most of the things I think, or a lot of them, I should say, are kind of jump scare like things. Like and I get the feeling that he works backwards. Like he comes up with, here's some crazy design, Now let me try to find out a way to work this into a story. Not that it's a bad thing, like it's because he comes up with some good designs. What another thing I was thinking, like you guys are saying that Ito's stuff doesn't really work in an anime. I wonder if it would be possible if he could write a new story specifically to be an anime, because I don't know how much he knows about the process, but maybe like looking at how his past adaptations have kind of failed, he could see, maybe there's something that will work better as an anime as opposed to a manga. Maybe a manga that he didn't make because of that reason. I don't know, just because sometimes I've seen this is an example. I think Stephen King had he's wrote some things I think that were made first to be shows or movies, right? At least I think so. Like he's written stuff specifically to be a movie or a show. So maybe Ito could do something like that would better take advantage of the medium then, because a lot of the anime is made. Sorry, a lot of the manga is the scares only work in manga form. It's kind of hard to get them to work in the form of anime.
Yeah, you turn the page, you see something, and then you go to the next page and then see what happens next. And in anime, it's like, boom, it's there, and like, oh, great, yeah, it doesn't go anywhere really.
Oh,
It's just a different kind of story.
I just found the name of the manga. It's Fuanotein.
Yeah. I saw it just now. Yeah.
Oh,
Fuano
yeah.
no
I was
Tane,
talking
yeah.
about that. Yeah, I think it's the same author of PTSD Radio, right?
Yeah, it is. It's the same author.
Yeah.
I have it in German in hardcover edition because they never released in English.
Yeah,
Which I
it's
read
very,
like
I like
first.
it. I really like it. In my opinion, it's very the design of the ghosts are very very unsettling. Let's say.
It's a really good idea of how to make a creature or how to get something to just. I mean, you have your everything settings and just have this entity just stalk you or just be in a random corner or just look at you weirdly or just run towards you and just disappears and just that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, sometimes it's like with suicide, there's also kind of this theme sometimes, some of these stories, and other times it's just random and it doesn't have to do with anything else, and otherwise it's just
Yeah.
these little stories that just follow up each other and just like tries to stalk you and kill you or just goes after your friends or something like that. You make some interesting stuff with it. Yes. Yeah, indeed.
There's a move of Fuanotein, but don't watch it. It's pretty bad.
Yeah,
Oh, it didn't
I
watch
don't.
a
It seems
movie.
like it's a. What's weird? There's you guys are saying there's not a lot of scary anime, but there's a lot of scary Japanese live action shows, right?
Yeah.
Live action movies.
Live
Movies,
action.
J horror, like
Isn't that
Yeah, for
Bolt
sure.
or
isn't that kind of weird?
Indie. It's like lots of these episodes where like the fear
Like
is constant. There's no safe room. It's just anything can attack you at any time at any moment.
there's a movie called Cairo. I think it's in English it's called Pulse. Do you
Yeah,
know?
Pulse is just like but yeah, it's just
It's very
yeah.
good in my opinion. I also like some found footage movies like Noroi and Occult. They're both Japanese found footage movies. They're just
Okay.
very good. Very good.
We can share it in the chat too. Don't forget, so that we could have a record. Then you could say, and we could look back on. I never looked at a Japanese found footage, but I remember years ago. It probably seemed lame now, but what was it? Blair Witch Project was like a huge deal. That was like the biggest thing in the world. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah, I remember. People keep discussing if it was real or not. You know, I remember. Like
Oh, you
it.
mean
Yeah,
Blair
yeah,
Witch Project?
Yeah.
yeah. I actually thought it was. I actually thought it was scary at the time. You know, you guys might laugh now. You know, but I thought that
No,
was kind of
Yeah.
messed up. You know.
I think
Mhm.
it's scary. I love found footage movies. I think they are pretty good. But I mean, it's just like how can I say? It's something I enjoy, but I see that a lot of people
Yeah,
don't like found footage movies.
yeah. I mean, with what was it again?
It's kind of funny to think about it from the perspective of the ghost. You know, because the ghost has to know that the people are not seeing what he's doing, you know. So is he just doing that just to kind of screw with people, you know? Like, oh look, I'm moving
Yeah,
something and
yeah,
I'm not looking at it, you know. And when it turns stop doing it, you know, it's like, who's that for? I don't know, just kind of a
yeah,
funny
yeah,
thing. Just
yeah. I mean, with the Blair Witch Project was a thing that worked at that moment at that time because they
Yeah,
also had the website set up, which also like told the story of the background and what happened to the characters. Like the characters had to be silent for a year long to let the people think that they really died and that something really happened. But as long as but when that's over, that nobody believes it anymore, and it's just like this is just a product of its time. So it's really a project that works on its own at the
yeah, yeah,
time, but if you make other movies of it, because there were other movies that don't work anymore because we already know this concept, everybody knows the thing anymore. It's the same with like Cannibal Holocaust, for instance, if you heard of that. It's also a
yeah.
found footage movie from the
I
70s.
kind of love it. I don't want to say it, but I kind of love it. Okay.
Yeah, which
oh
is
well, you
also
know,
which
it's
people, which the fun with that movie is people also even the police thought it was real what happened in that movie, and they even went after the director if he killed people. That's also crazy. It was just so believable that people really the effects that were
Yeah.
used in that people really thought that something like that happens. I mean,
Oh,
animals
but
really
some
died in
things,
the movies, though.
yeah, the animals, they killed animals.
Yeah,
That's happening. Yeah, was real. And
I haven't seen it from A to Z, but yeah,
I
it's really
mean,
fucked up. But it's
yeah,
interesting.
I mean, I saw all kinds of first footage movies, and there's some really messed up stuff that make you you know that's not real, but if you immerse
oh
yourself, you can kind of it kind of believe. Let's say for a moment.
you ever
Mm,
seen before I forget, you ever seen Wreck?
Yes, Wreck is very good. I remember Wreck.
Wreck,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah,
That is one of the best ones. Oh man, at the
yeah.
end, where the freaking I don't know where they get that woman from. This
The-
there was
yeah.
this yeah, yeah, well I'm not spoil it, but like, you know, whoever they got to play that thing was great, you know. That's like the alien. You remember like the I don't know if you ever saw behind the scenes of the first alien, but they had like this 7 foot tall guy, you know.
Yes, yes, yes.
You know, so they got like somebody like that correct, you know. But yeah, that was really and you know like I think it shows that, like, you know, you think you're seeing everything, but no, somebody could come up with something. Somebody's gonna come up with some crazy thing that, uh, and like what I like too is that it's happening in the middle of town. This is not out in the bush somewhere, you know? It's like not in some wasteland. This is like the middle of town. This happening in a building. This whole alternate reality universe, wherever the hell it is, this happening right there next door. You know, I thought that was kind of scary. I mean, like everybody, kind of afraid of the dark, like just as a primal thing, even it might be grown up, and but are you gonna walk out in the dark?
Yeah.
It's not that easy. And I think
Mm.
it's kind of interesting.
I
Like
remember
even
the first time I watched Rec. It was the same year it was released, and I just saw it without knowing anything about it, and oh god, that was a really scary experience. Like it was. It's a very good
Mm.
movie. I like one of the best, in my opinions. One of the best found footage movies. In my
I
opinion.
mean,
yeah,
I
and
mean, remember, I remember Apollo 12 being a good found footage movie, or like, for the runtime that it was, which is basically about, well, the failed mission Apollo 12,
Yeah,
or like, what was it, 13, well, whatever. They went to the moon, but they landed, but it was a secret mission, so nobody knew that they were up there, basically, and there was a reason for that
yeah,
because the whole plot point of the movie was that uh, there were life on there's life on the moon, and it's in the
yeah,
form of
yeah.
spiders. Just the rocks turn into spiders and just invade these people one by one, and just like, and you see them in the background just crawling around and just trying to get you. I'm like, oh boy, no. That was something I didn't was not a fan of, but it was kind of fun. And the rest of the found footage movies, yeah, I don't know. They just reuse stuff too many times, or just too many jump scares, and it's not scary at all. And just, kind of copy and paste the majority of it. But
There's
sometimes
one
they work if you have a good.
there's one movie. I bet you guys don't know it, but there's one movie called Lake Mungo. Do you know? Do you guys know
oh
about it?
man,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Like Mongo, I
But
know
that one
it.
is
I
a
know it.
Oh, you
that is
guys,
a really slow burn. You
that
had to pay
movie
attention because I
is
I
is is really scary, in my opinion.
I
Yeah,
never
yeah. It's about
I missed the
ghost girl. Well,
Yeah,
a girl
but
that's dead, and they found pictures, and they see her in the background. But at the end, we see that she's not real. But then there's a twist. There was a real ghost, and she's just watching over them, trying to protect them, basically, like in a real short explanation of that.
but to be
yeah, and
honest,
I
I don't think that
okay.
that the movie explain like they don't explicitly say that there is a ghost. In my opinion, I know that the final scene kind of makes you think that yeah, there's a ghost, but I don't think that this was the point of the movie. I think that the whole movie was about first you you wanting to know if there is a ghost or not, if it was real or not. But
Mm-hmm.
the real thing that gets scary is the reason why the girl dies. You know, like I don't
Yeah.
know
Oh, yeah.
if
Yeah.
you
Yeah. Yeah.
remember, she go like to a medium or something like that, and he said that she will die or something like that, and
Yeah. It was a
then and
prophecy that she
then
knew she would die.
yeah, something.
Then buried herself, made a video about it, and
In that this whole side story about her doing some some dirt stuff behind her parents, like her parents thought that she was a really innocent girl, but in fact she was very naughty. Very she did some things very, how can I say it, very
explicit.
inappropriate. Yeah.
Nah.
So yeah, there's a lot of things in the movie. It's a fun movie, but I think it's also very very scary.
Hmm.
I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
the things that she slept with her neighbors. Like he did, like I don't remember very well, but it's like she was in a relationship with other two people at the same time. Like they recorded some tapes and things like that, and the and her parents just found it when, after she died, and they were shocked. Like they expected her daughter. Oh, sorry, sorry. They expected that she was a very innocent girl, but in fact she was not.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I watched also a lot of movies. I mean, movies like Tarkovsky or what more did I watch? Sanatorium or The
Yeah.
Sanatorium. What's it called again? Also from the 70s. Is a really trippy movie. Also pretty interesting. Can look it up later. But yeah, also a lot of experimental movies. Also some Russian movies that also pretty weird and out there, like Visit to the Museum or The Goblin, or also, well, a lot of different movies basically. And I stream
What,
them
what
also every.
what's the
Hmm?
name of that movie? There's a very experimental horror movie. I don't remember the name right now, but it's like black and white, and it's everything is like decay, and there's a lot of bodies, and it's a very cool movie. It's very no, it's black and white. Uh,
Begotten.
That's what I
Begotten,
remember.
yes, 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 yes.
Oh,
Thank you.
Begotten. Oh, that one. Oh, yeah.
What is it? You could post it in the chat.
No, what? Sorry.
Um,
Begotten.
could you post it? Begotten? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I first thought
It's
of That's
no
What
man.
Iron Man, but the whole the other different movie.
yeah, it's a very weird movie. It's like very experimental, and there's a lot of
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
studio
yeah.
imagery and things like that. It's a good movie. I also like
Mm.
um what the name of the, the
And
guy
what's
is.
Aniara? Q.
What?
Yeah, yeah, there's this there's this I can't remember what country it's from. It's a European film where these people on they kind of leaving the dying earth to head to Mars to try to create a colony there. But something happens and the ship gets veered off course. And what's supposed to be like a few months long journey now is this ship is hopelessly going off in whatever vector that it was going in,
Mm.
right? There's no way to recover
Mm.
it, and then like the people basically trying to keep control on the ship, try to not let people panic, try to retrofit the ship to for a longer term voyage because it was never meant to make people. It was never meant to be a self-sustaining uh, ecology within the ship. So they're trying to make that happen, and yeah, but it is very very dark. I mean, is
Mm.
yeah, is messed up. I mean, like only the Europeans could do it sometimes. I think they have a finger on some kind of like I mean, think about it. Like even if we were free on Earth or Mars, we would still have to kind of make a
Yeah.
life wherever we were. And then
Yeah,
yeah, and then people trying to kind of so this, but it's just that like when it's on the ship is a lot more concrete. This is it. Like just and just coming to terms with that
yeah,
is a very dark show. ANIARA, is I mean, like I say, don't
Mm.
watch it when you're already depressed. You know? You gotta be at full energy. You know.
I
Uh,
don't.
Yeah.
So I'll never watch it.
right. Yeah. Maybe you could read the wiki. You know. Some things is like that. You know. But like I watched it, I
Mm.
didn't necessarily know what I was in for. You see. That was the next thing. You know. It's like, oh wow, a space show. You know, I could watch this. You know, how bad could it be? Um, yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Oh
kind
yeah.
of
So
it is
By
yeah.
the way, yeah. By the way, friends, two other comics I forgot was Planetoid and Prophets. Planetoid is probably not inspired by Nihei, but it looks a lot like Nihei, like a guy that strands on like this planet that's a really strong magnetic pulse that just constantly adding to it, and it's like in one giant mecha structure basically, and he is trying to survive with his special gun that is also really powerful, like the GB, and just finds his tribe, tries to free the people of a dictatorship, and the story goes on and on and on like that. It's pretty fun. And Prophet is like this generation story also on kind of a big mecha structure. So yeah, that's interesting stuff. Can be inspired by me, but no clue if it actually is.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm always looking for stuff. You know, there's always
Mm,
like there's always like there's just never enough. You know, like
mm,
it's something I always talk about. You know, uh, tree body problem. You know, that is something that there's is currently being adapted on YouTube. I'll share the link. Like
okay.
they're making a they're making an adaptation of it. You know, it's just I mean, and it has like so much things that that Nihei talks about, but it doesn't reveal them at once. You know, I mean, you have people like cryostasis is invented, and like people kind of using it to jump forward in time
Yeah.
and see different
mm.
eras. You know, and each era is I don't want to spoil too much because, but it's based on a Chinese book that
What
that
called?
well the first book in the series is called Three Body Problem. That is
Ah,
and well the link I share,
okay.
yeah. But I mean it starts very grounded, you know. Like I
Yeah.
mean the first whole book I think is
Mm,
set on Earth, more or less, and you know it only gets huger from there, you know. Like when you're
yeah.
reading it, when you now start reading it, you have no idea the kind of scale that you're gonna see. But not that it's being adapted. Well, I hope they do season two. You know, like a lot of these shows is like, well, we're gonna do the first season, and we
See
didn't
how that
realize
goes.
it
And
get
if it doesn't go well,
exponentially. Yeah, well, we don't ever. Like it seems like they don't realize that it get exponentially more expensive from there. You know, like like well, that happens particularly I think in US. You know, but and then they stop making it. But I hope that they're able to conclude
yeah,
this one. You know,
yeah,
because
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
just one thing, Mars. May have to
Hmm?
leave now.
Oh,
That
okay.
okay?
Yeah, no
How
problem.
do you guys want to? How long do you plan to
I
stay
mean,
here?
it's about 2 hours, and that's like the max what we usually do.
So we
yeah,
are
So yeah,
almost 2 hours now, right? It's almost.
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah, I
almost.
think so.
Yeah. It's fine.
So
It's fine.
yeah, I'll have to leave, but yeah, that was pretty fun. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
you
was
see
a
though,
fun.
you see, it's not as stressful as you thought. You know.
oh, more or
No,
less.
you aren't gonna die about it.
You know,
Eh,
but
I'm not
you know
used
what I
to
mentioned
this,
it. You know.
but but
Yeah, but you know,
it's fun. It's fun. It's fun. I like it. I like this
Hmm.
experience is very different from me. So yeah, I like it. I don't know if I'll
Yeah,
be
yeah,
able
yeah.
to be a constant presence here, but from time to time, maybe
Yeah,
I'll be
maybe
here.
another time. Who knows?
Yeah,
okay.
Maybe we can
yeah,
talk about this new series, kind of the Great Snow Sea, for instance.
yeah.
Also, a few
You know what?
episodes on it out, so who knows?
Yeah, I've read all the manga that's available, and I looked at the 3 episodes. So I definitely want to see where it's going. It seems like I think there's a lot of anime, but not a lot of them actually take place in really alien settings. And I think that's kind of like a problem. It's like a wasted
Mm,
opportunity.
that's a bit
Like
more fantasy
we could
type.
do anything. Well, I think it's only
Mm,
fantasy because they've forgotten how they got there. Like it's so many generations that um they've forgotten how they wound up there.
yeah,
Remember, it was
yeah, yeah, probably.
like in
And
yeah,
probably another
like
sea
in
ship
Trigon,
brought them there.
right? And they've forgotten
Mm,
that they these are people that came from the stars.
mm,
Because clearly the world was shaped by advanced human technology. It's like I
that's
mean,
that's why they have the signs and they don't know what they're actually for. And they probably are from a ship like that, from a sea ship that crashed there,
right.
spread the humans around, and bingo.
Yeah, so
But
so
I
yeah,
guess, we're gonna end it right here. So, thank you for watching and more in episode 3, and maybe we see you another time. Bye.
Bye.